going to happen?
We're going to hate you. We're going to hate you. And we're going to, and you should, because he's the head coach of the Bears.
Can Ben Johnson realistically save the Bears?
Everyone get back to work.
Ben is the right guy.
Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Ben is the right guy.
Quite frank with you, I kind of enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Ben Johnson is the right guy, Bears fans, right? He's the only coach in the NFL who can succeed while coaching his offense to pretend to stumble. Now he's tasked with saving a franchise that no matter what they do, they seem to stumble. A franchise that has fired their head coach after using a first-round draft pick on each of their last 3 quarterbacks. Something we dove into on this video.
They look broken.
No rookie quarterback should be holding the ball for 5 seconds.
Are they asking for Bajan to start because they think Caleb needs to just watch for a little bit?
They're in a running formation, they run. If they're in a passing formation, they pass. There's just nothing there.
Making a head coaching change after you draft a quarterback is a bad thing, unless the next head coach you hire is the right guy.
Why do I coach? One word. Relationships.
The Bears haven't had a top 5 overall offense since 1977. Ben Johnson, as an offensive coordinator, hasn't ever had less than a top 5 overall offense. So something has to give here, right? If Ben Johnson doesn't get the best out of Caleb Williams, then Bears fans will be the most ready group of people on planet Earth for the apocalypse, because there will be no hope left for that franchise. If having the #1 overall pick at QB, who is a special talent, paired with the NFL's hottest play caller, and the man who specifically chose Chicago doesn't work out, then your problems are no longer logical or correctable by any sort of feasible means. You've got to correct something on a supernatural level if this blows up in your face, Chicago. Today, I want to answer the tough question: can Ben Johnson really save the Bears? What odds are stacked against him, and how does he overcome them?
I fucking hate the Bears.
That's good, sports. I can't thank you guys enough for helping me cross 700,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Also, big announcement today, we're dropping our first ever flavored coffee at benchwarmershop.com, our Devil Magic Roast. It's an Irish cream flavored coffee. It's delicious with a little bit of Bailey's or Kahlua. And I'll be honest, I'm not a big flavored coffee guy. So I was super picky about selecting a flavored coffee that I felt good about selling. I landed on this one after months of tasting all sorts of flavors, because I'm a purist, but this shit's pretty good. If you want to get it, you can pre-order it now. It's going to take a little longer than a normal coffee to arrive because it is a pre-order, but we wanted to get it up before the season ended. And for championship weekend, we're running a sale for the remaining cursed shirts. Code HOPE15. You got to use code HOPE15 to get 15% off of these bad boys at benchwarmershop.com. Link below. Let me begin with an important question. Can Ben Johnson do this?
Timeout.
The clock was running down and there was confusion everywhere.
Timeout. Timeout.
Yes, he can, which means the Bears are saved. Please stop watching this video now.
Time in.
Now, you cannot judge a head coach by his opening press conference. Sometimes there's signs of impending failure.
You know, he is intelligent, forward-thinking, aggressive. He's to paraphrase Wayne Gretzky.
Matt LaFleur, I mean, I will thank him forever. I'm going to make a run at being the sexiest coach in the NFL against him.
Sometimes you like it, but you're confused, maybe a little scared.
When you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off, all right? And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap, and we're going to get up, and then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down.
Sometimes they're vanilla and go unnoticed. But I thought Ben Johnson hit us with a very solid B+, A- presser.
The stumble bum play that you hit the Bears with.
Did you like that one?
It was clever.
That was a Matt LaFleur special.
I would have liked to see the LaFleur joke land, but he gave the impression of being competent and human and having a plan, and I think he made a good impression the moment he walked into the Bears building.
We are beyond excited. This is exactly where we wanted to be. This is exactly where we wanted to be.
Ben Johnson was the obvious hire for the Bears. Just like Tom Brady hiring a guy with the word spy in his name was the obvious hire for the Raiders GM role. Sometimes the obvious hire, though, is also the correct one. One more time, Tom Brady's new general manager is fucking named Spy Tech. You can't make that shit up. What's next? A defensive coordinator named D. Flate? A backup quarterback named My Wife Left Me for a jiu-jitsu instructor? Moving on, the first sign that this is indeed a good hiring is how upset Lions fans are at losing Ben Johnson.
What the fuck, Ben? The Bears? Are you serious?
Osama Ben Johnson.
Are you fucking out of all teams?
Ben's trash.
Terrible.
He's the worst. Call plays.
He can't lead us.
The Lions are losing coaches at a faster rate than they lost defensive players to injury this last season. And while I trust Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, how they fill those vacancies will be crucial to Detroit's success over the next few seasons. And I get why Lions fans are scared and lashing out online. What Chicago Bears fans, though, are hoping for is to be in a similar situation in 3 to 5 years, right? Losing coordinators because you're so damn good. One man's hell is another man's hope.
I hope fucking Caleb Williams blows, dude.
Yeah, I hope he's actually a fucking bust.
I hope he's the worst coach in the history of the NFL.
Just so you know, I told Ben, Caleb is fucking trash. Like, you don't want to go there.
That's all right.
What's the $13 million question? Well, that's how much Ben's gonna get paid per year. But the $1 million question that none of us know, including Ben Johnson himself, is how he will function as an NFL head coach, right? What's his mental state? What are his leadership abilities going to look like, say, week 12 next season when shit is hitting the fan? And I'm not even talking about wins and losses. I'm talking about possibly playing 3 games in a 12-game span, injuries that fuck up your game plan, some bullshit media story about you losing the locker room, all the little things that add up through the course of a football season. Who is Ben Johnson when he is the point man for every problem on a team? Is he Andy Reid, or is he any guy the Bears have previously hired named Matt? That is an unknowable thing right now, but I believe Ben Johnson is ready for those moments. And I think Jared Goff is the single guy we can look to in order to confirm that. Some people, Packers fans, might try and poo-poo on this Ben Johnson hiring because he doesn't have head coaching experience.
Jim Harbaugh with the Chargers. He made a big difference.
He did.
With the Chargers.
You know, and he had no coaching experience either.
Sean Payton took 2 years. We're in a much better spot.
No head coaching experience either for Sean Payton, yeah.
Big Ben has experience.
As a coordinator, absolutely. A great offensive coordinator. Yeah. You know who was a really good offensive coordinator? Nathaniel Hackett.
Well, neither did Sean McVay when he was hired by the Rams. It was the Los Angeles Rams, right, in 2017? McVay inherited Jared Goff, who split time with Case Keenum the season before, and the Rams went 4-12 in 2016. The Bears were just 5-12. McVay got 11 wins out of the Rams his first season, and Jared Goff looked like the first overall pick we all thought he should look like. Ben Johnson is 38, same age as Sean McVay, which is crazy, and I think they are equals as play callers right now. They both saved Jared Goff's career. Goff struggled with the Rams before McVay arrived, and he was struggling as a Lion before Johnson was named offensive coordinator and given play calling duties, right? We all wrote Goff off for dead when he left Sean McVay's perfectly sculpted pecs. Goff and Ben Johnson, though, cooked.
Hey, you're good enough for Detroit.
And now Ben can do the exact same thing McVay did. Get to 10 or 11 wins with the first overall pick who did not look great as a rookie. The real question I have about Ben Johnson is, will he be as good at identifying coaching talent as Sean McVay and the man he learned under, Dan Campbell? Ben Johnson's ability to see potential is what will play out over the next couple seasons. Dan Campbell brought in Johnson and Aaron Glenn, who is officially leaving for the Jets. In McVay's first season, he had Matt LaFleur as his offensive coordinator. McVay had Kevin O'Connell on his staff, Wes Phillips, Ejiro Evero, Zach Taylor, etc. Shane Waldron was also with McVay for a time, but I won't mention that one, Bears fans. Knowing Sean is only 38 makes his coaching tree an absolute fucking anomaly too, but I mention that to show what Ben needs to do to be successful. And that's identify and cultivate great assistants and coordinators like we have seen McVay do, all while manning the ship and calling your offensive plays yourself. Now, the last thing I would recommend for Bears fans is to be overly optimistic, right? That's like asking a burn victim if they'd like to sit by the fire for their dining experience tonight. For your safety, I recommend curbing your expectations. But as an outsider, a Broncos fan who was down pretty bad, things can change quickly. This year is an insanely positive example of how quickly things can change. Dan Quinn and Sean Payton revived dying franchises by also grabbing quarterbacks from the 2024 draft class. Jim Harbaugh got the Chargers into the playoffs. All three of those situations were very different, but all three represent what success can look like quickly if your head coach is competent. To me, Ben Johnson feels very calculated. He waited an extra year for this opportunity, and he understands that success on a game-to-game basis depends on your quarterback and your quarterback's performances.
Modern football in the NFL is quarterback driven. That is no secret. You can look at analytics. Right now, quarterback success is a higher predictor of winning and losing than turnover ratio, which it's been for 20 plus years.
If he knows that, then he chose to work with Caleb Williams because he believes he can get that out of Caleb Williams. And there was more than enough evidence, I think, this last season to validate those thoughts. The one thing he will have corrected, I guarantee, before week 1 is Caleb's propensity to take back-breaking sacks. Now, sacks are a damning stat, but they can be corrected, and you can succeed even if they are high. Not the highest, Caleb, not the highest. And Caleb was dropped 68 times in 2024, most in the league, we all know that. Second most sacked quarterback, C.J. Stroud. He won a playoff game. Fourth most sacked QB, Sam Darnold and Joe Burrow. They're pretty good. Well, we know for sure Joe is. We'll see about Sam. Sixth most sacked quarterback this season, Jaden Daniels. Justin Herbert, Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts, and Patrick Mahomes were all actually in the top 12 for most sacks taken. Caleb only has to get marginally better in that specific category to succeed. You can allow Caleb to improvise and extend plays and still win if sometimes that doesn't work. The thing I liked the most, though, about what Ben Johnson said in his opening press conference is this.
There's no doubt Caleb played a large component into my decision. Where I see my role is as a supporter of him. This offense will be calibrated with him in mind. We're going to build this thing. This is not simply a dropping of a previous playbook down on the table and starting there. Nope. We're ripping this thing down to the studs, and we're going to build it up with him first and foremost.
That sounds so obvious to football fans, right? Jared Goff and Caleb Williams both played college football in California and were both number 1 picks in the draft, but that's all they really have in common. They are very different quarterbacks on the field. They have different strengths and different skill sets. Ben Johnson saying he's going to strip down the offensive playbook to the bolts and rebuild it with Caleb in mind is the most reassuring thing Chicago fans have heard since the Cubs win the World Series! Yes, if the Cubs can win the World Series, the Chicago Bears can too. Yeah. If you don't think the QB and head coaching relationship or fit isn't important, I can't really help you. I think Ben Johnson choosing Caleb Williams, choosing the Chicago Bears, is as good of a sign as you could have hoped for. Caleb Williams said he screamed when he found out Ben Johnson was his head coach.
I don't know if it was safe or not, but I gave out a loud yell and scream of just, excitement.
If your quarterback is hyped, also a positive sign. And Caleb wasted some of that joy on that fake Ben Johnson prank. So his enthusiasm is genuine.
So first of all, I think it was great PR. The prank call.
Sean Payton, excellent example of fit being key. Now, he did not choose Russell Wilson when he came to Denver, and that was a disaster. He chose Bo Nix, and things are trending up here in Denver. Just listen to Russell Wilson omitting Sean Payton from his praise here on the Pat McAfee Show.
I've been fortunate to play for two really special coaches in terms of men and how they think and how they process the game. obviously, and Coach Pete Carroll and obviously Coach Mike Tomlin.
And I've seen people try to compare this hiring to Adam Gase because, like Gase, Ben Johnson is a big brain guy, a football nerd, a Poindexter of the turf, a guy who can only get an erection while thinking about mesh and rub routes. With all due respect to the Gase comparisons, shut the fuck up. Adam Gase was and still is a smart football mind in terms of understanding X's and O's, but he was the product of Peyton Manning. Ben is not the product of Jared Goff. After listening to Ben Johnson for one day, I already know he's got more emotional intelligence than Adam Gase, and nothing showcases that more than this quote.
The only way for this team and for you as individual players to reach your potential is to be pushed and to be challenged. And that's exactly what I and my staff plan on doing. We're going to push, we're going to challenge. And along with those high standards, there's also going to be a high level of support as well.
High standards, high level of support. Telling your players that you are raising the bar, that you will demand more from them, that you will push them, that you will watch them in the shower, that's all normal coach speak. But ensuring them that you will also support them inside and outside of the shower, I think that's big. And in today's NFL, I think that kind of awareness is more important than ever for success. There was a similar vibe and feeling of optimism when the Falcons dropped this clip of Raheem Morris addressing his team last year.
Everybody's important. Everybody's important. I don't care what you play, what you do for this organization. I want you to have that type of environment, that type of feeling with us. Man, we're going to get everything out of every single player in here. I don't give a who you are. I'm going to find out what you can do and how you can do it and see if it can work in the National Football League on our team or somebody else's.
But I think the only thing that can derail Ben Johnson this season is his quarterback, Caleb Williams. The Bears' offensive line obviously could use help. Making your QB more efficient does wonders for your offensive line. And the huge upside of hiring a divisional coach is he already knows your roster's weaknesses. He made a living exploiting them twice a year, and he referenced that on Bears radio here.
I don't think it was the secret last year that the O-line play was not quite where it needed to be. 2023, that defensive line was playing really good football. And last year, they got a little bit leaky in terms of stopping the run. I felt, as an opposing coach, that the Billings loss was a big deal.
That gives Ben Johnson a head start versus if the Bears had hired a non-divisional coach. The Lions' offense was second best in yards per game last year at 409. Chicago was dead last at 283. Ben doesn't have to do much for us to see improvement. The bar is so low, Johnson couldn't even trip over it if he tried. Expectations are 6 feet under. Just 33 offensive touchdowns for the Bears. Detroit had the most in the league at 68. And the Bears have the 10th overall pick in the draft, the Panthers' second-round pick at number 39, and a very nice $69 million in cap space, which is the 5th most entering the offseason. Their biggest free agent departure in terms of money will be Keenan Allen. Now remember, Ben Johnson started calling plays in Detroit in 2022. Their offense jumped from middle-of-the-road / bottom 10 in scoring to being a top 5 offense every year that Johnson was the OC with the Lions. We're talking about surpassing the Chiefs and the Bills and the Ravens in top performing offenses on a week-to-week basis. And I love Jared Goff. I think he's grossly underrated, but giving Ben Johnson a Caleb Williams level physical talent is like giving a young Martin Scorsese Robert De Niro.
Fake the short pass, then hit me here in the end zone with a Hail Mary.
Okay, got that. Yeah.
God, those two are good together and meet the Fockers. Now, Ben also has 2 talented receivers in DJ Moore and Rome Odunze to work with. DJ Moore walked off the field last year during a play. He had his commitment questioned. Well, he left his family vacation to attend Ben Johnson's press conference. I'd say he's all in. Ben also gets a very solid tight end in Cole Kmet to work with. Underutilized running backs with the option to address needs in free agency and the draft. The Lions roster he is leaving is stacked, no arguing that, but the Bears are far from a bare bones unit. who Ben and Ryan Poles find to evaluate draft talent, how they build their scouting department, that's where Ben Johnson has to get the organization on par with the Lions. Building a great roster is not a science, but that's the biggest question I have as this team moves forward.
That Ryan and I have already talked about. We will develop a plan of attack for how to get that done, but I'm looking forward to getting an excellent offensive line coach into the building to help develop the young talent that we already have on the roster.
So it's not just optimistic Bears fans saying this. Ben Johnson's walking into an ideal situation on a multitude of levels.
I fucking hate the Bears.
Now, I wasn't sold that the Bears would be great heading into the 2024 season. I thought they had a chance, but I feel much more comfortable saying Ben Johnson can save the Bears than I did saying Caleb Williams could save the Bears, say 7 or 8 months ago. I believe the NFC North will be regarded as having the 4 best head coaches in the league. Ben Johnson may have enjoyed sweeping the Packers,
beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yes, but if he sweeps the Lions, then we can look forward to Johnson beating Goff twice. Or a Bear beating Goff. Whichever you're into, Chi-Town.
First words out of his mouth were, "I want this job." The last thing he said before we turned off the camera was, "Did I tell you that I want this job?"
So yes, Ben Johnson can realistically save the Bears, and if he doesn't, nothing will ever work for you, Chicago. You could have Andy Reid as your head coach, Bill Belichick as your defensive coordinator, Sean McVay as your offensive coordinator, Patrick Mahomes as your QB, and for whatever reason, it still wouldn't fucking work for you. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Again, please subscribe here on YouTube. I would really like it if you subscribed, especially before the lull of the offseason hits. Every football creator starts to panic right about now. Are you gonna leave and forget about me? Oh God, so much uncertainty.